Hi, this is Yusuf Goolamabbas. I'm here with Joe Ito, Chairman of Creative Commons, and Pindar Wong, who's a big proponent of Creative Commons in Hong Kong. So the conversation is going to, primarily discuss about Creative Commons, its relevance to Hong Kong, and what are we doing to bringing in Creative Commons. So Pindar, last year the government released a consultation paper on IP copyright, and now you came up pretty strongly against it.
Well, yeah, it's quite well known that I had some views on that paper. On a more positive light, it's quite clear that Hong Kong, we've got the infrastructure. We built the number 2, number 3 infrastructure for the internet in the world in the last 10 years. So what are we going to do with it? Now, if we're going to have a very not forward-looking copyright regime that binds us, that shackles us, it's quite clear that the creative community in Hong Kong, and there are plenty of people, music, film, the arts, I mean, their ability to mix, mash, be creative with that is somehow not factored into the current view of the law. So all we're trying to do is saying, look, it's not necessarily all rights reserved, it's some rights reserved. Let's try and use the existing copyright regime and make licensing, and look at the licensing aspect. Not everyone by nature wants to fall foul of the copyright law, but give us some options. It's not a question that we don't want to obey the law. It's a question we do want to have a license, but make it easiest for us to get a license. Furthermore, provide us some choices as far as the types of license we can get. Now, therefore, Creative Commons has been around. We looked at it. We all know it. Many of us who've been involved with the industry or worldwide said, "Hey, look, it's quite strange. We don't even have Creative Commons in Hong Kong. Why not? Why don't we go and do it?" So that's what we've done.
Okay, so Joey, what do you think about what's you've been involved in the work with being done by Pindar, Rebecca, a bunch of other people, Charles Mock. They've been trying to drum up support and basically get Creative Commons onto a more legal footing in Hong Kong, and I think they're coming close to it. I'm not sure of the exact status of it, but what's Creative Commons' international view of is Hong Kong an anomaly? With respect to it being so much in the forefront of the digital economy, and yet having what I would call a backward copyright regime.
Right. So I don't have enough information to talk about the specific copyright regime in Hong Kong, but Creative Commons, as Pindar was saying, is a way to try to create within the existing law a way for everyone to choose what level of sharing they want, right? And originally originally copyright, the way that copyright is enforced, the way that technology is created to help enforce that copyright was generally built by people who manufacture, mass deliver, mass produce to consumers content. So it's basically Hollywood, right? And that was an old model. So what happened was a lot of laws were created and a lot of technologies were created to try to retain the old business model of content manufacture, content distribution, and content consumption in the digital age, right? The thing that's interesting is it really does kind of ignore the use cases of things like amateurs, smaller independents, a bunch of things that the internet now enables, but makes it difficult because of the current copyright law, right? And so what we're saying is a very practical business perspective, which is here's one business model, which is you monopolize people's time with television and things like that, and allow certain brands to become very popular, and then you spend the rest of your life sort of doling out this content from this massive brand, and the main incentive you have there is to protect that because you already have a delivery mechanism and a need that you built through investment, right? Mainly, the reason why that was the only model around was the cost of distribution and the cost of production of content was so high. Well, the thing that's interesting with infrastructure quality that you have in Hong Kong, with the fact that you don't have huge studios in Hong Kong building major multi-million-dollar motion pictures, and the other thing is, especially in Asia, we have this huge consumer electronics business, right? Business of selling video cameras and televisions and things like that enable the amateurs to create content. And so the whole, we call it the sharing economy, but you and me making videos and sharing it with people, and then maybe if it shows on TV you want to get paid, well sure, use a Creative Commons non-commercial license, or maybe you're just sharing photos to your friends and then you just use an attribution license. But that's a huge business that sells tons of cameras, it uses lots of infrastructure, and the problem is that right now the mass production and delivery of content is the sort of the main model that a lot of people want to use the internet. Well, they could. They should just might as well use cable.
Sure.
You know, that's fine. For broadcast, that's not a bad architecture.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with it.
It's fine.
But internet is really for peer-to-peer communication. And the problem is, if you don't create a legal regime that allows you to do it, people will do it anyway, but it will be illegal. And so by causing people to do illegal things, it's also one of these things. Well, if I'm breaking the law anyway, it's kind of like, well, if I'm going to fall off my diet anyway,
right.
or if I'm going to have a drink anyway, might as well go all the way, right? And so the minute you make people into pirates and you call them criminals and terrorists like they did in the United States, then they're going to come back at you. They're going to attack you. They're going to treat you like the man. And so I think what Creative Commons is trying to do is get everybody to the table, get everybody to follow the rule of law, respect each other's needs, and say everyone has the right to have a choice. Right. Now, I guess in rights and choice and stuff may be slightly too democratic for certain kinds of political discussion, but I think if you talk about the rights of consumers to choose how they want to consume content, whether they want to share. I mean, I'm sorry I'm rambling here, but another example is the cell phone, right? So a lot of kids, what you're fighting for right now is the attention of a person. It's not like fighting between channel 4 or channel 6. The kid is either going to play video games, sit on the cell phone, or watch TV, right? And so the cell phone is really user-generated content, right? Except that once you get to the point of sort of that level, it's really not about copyright.
Right.
It's so context-oriented that you don't worry about copyright of your email unless you're a lawyer or something like that. But that space in between, email and broadcast, that's a very underdeveloped market. And I think what's really a pity is that this Hollywood regime is sort of infecting other governments into thinking that by having a strong copyright regime that they will sort of encourage a content business, when in fact by encouraging the amateur business they may sell more video cameras and televisions and network connections and bandwidth, and we would probably make a lot more money supporting the sharing economy in Asia than we would trying to build a Hollywood inside of Hong Kong.
I mean, it's a win-win, Yusuf. I mean, there have always been complaints that the internet is English, for example. It's not invented here. The content I can't access. Well, local language content, video, sound, that's the thing that we can generate, that can bootstrap not just Hong Kong, but this whole region. And whilst the political angle, votes and rights, that's one aspect, but Hong Kong is one of the freest economies in the world. So let the market decide. Now, unfortunately, you may have heard of our famous bus uncle, right?
Yeah,
now, that's not necessarily the way that Hong Kong wants to be best represented. How do we want to represent? And don't forget, Yusuf, people in industries like yourself, those in the software industry, right? I mean, we have many different avenues to pursue, not just with Hong Kong being a traditional test bed for places like China, which incidentally already is more ahead of us, and places like Taiwan and Singapore. All these other places, what can we learn from them? How can we position Hong Kong strategically? The Creative Commons license is there, it should be there by default. And once it's there by default, then we can start to do things which are really interesting. So I'm not saying that the Creative Commons is the be-all and end-all. It should have been there many years ago. It hasn't. Many of us said, well, look, why not? It's not the case. Right now, you could use it. Right? The version 3 of the license, you can download right now. You can use it. But then the onus here is that we want to respect Hong Kong law. And so a lot of people, Rebecca and people in the Hong Kong University and lawyers in Hong Kong have spent a tremendous amount of time looking at the version 3 license and how it's relevant to Hong Kong law. So what they produced right now is a Hong Kong version. It's on the web. Please download, please take a look, please review it, especially if you're an intellectual property lawyer. Let us know what the problems are. Let us know what you think. And then, it's early days. We can modify it within reason. But don't forget, this is a starting point. It's not the ending point. We should have had this many years ago. Time is now. 2008's the year.
All right. So here's a shout out to intellectual property lawyers. Check out the Hong Kong Creative Commons website, and let us know your feedback. And once again, thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your insight.
Cheers.
Pleasure having you here at Outblaze.
Thank you.